Mom, prom at the convention center downtown is over with now, so I'm going to head out to dinner with some of my friends before coming back home to you. We shouldn't be out too late tonight, and I might even have a friend of mine come over to stay the night as well, if that's okay.
Sounds great, Danny. Just make sure you don't get that prom dress dirty while you're out having fun at the restaurant or wherever you guys plan to have dinner.
I'll try.
By the way, your sister's going to pick you up later on with her car.
Wait, really? Oh, that's such a huge help for me.
And if the rest of your friends are all heading back home in the same direction, she said she'd be happy to accommodate 3 others in the back of the car. So when you have a time, a place, and an amount of people you plan to have taken home, please text your sister and let her know.
Roger that. I'll ask everyone and see who can ride along.
Betsy, what the hell do you think you're doing?
Marv? Oh, it's been a long time since I last spoke to you through text. Isn't something like this a bit difficult for you? Or have you finally come around to getting used to texting people?
This has nothing to do with me and my texting abilities. I'm here to yell at you about how you went and stole my dress.
What? I never stole any of your dresses, though. And to start you off with a little bit of important information regarding us, I haven't been out to your place in the past 5 years. I remember you told me to stay away from your house the last time I'd been there, all because my daughter never ended up going to a private high school like your son's daughter has. And you told me that was a crime in your family. And sure, I've passed through town close by to your place before, but not once have I stopped to even say hi to any of you guys there.
So then you're saying you broke in and stole the dress? That means you must have made your own key for this house, so I'm asking that you hand that over to me now. Either that or I'll go ahead and change the locks to this house myself and have you pay for the fees.
I have neither broken into your house or used a spare key that I'd made to get into there.
Well, for the time being, I just want my dress back. And of course I want you to have it cleaned before handing it back to me.
You want your dress cleaned?
If you hand that dress back over to me in the sorry state that you've most definitely left it in, then I'm going to make you pay me double for having stolen it from me.
Mom, I just called and asked for Jessica to come and get me.
Danny, why do you seem so gloomy right now? And why are you already asking to be brought home when it's only been around an hour since you told me you'd be going out to dinner with your friends?
As we were walking down the street to head to the restaurant, we passed by Grandma's house. You know, Dad's mom's house. And as we were passing by it, I had red wine splashed all over the dress.
What? Marv, I just got a couple of text messages from Danny a few seconds ago, and I'm starting to believe that what she said to me has to do with this dress of yours, which you believe I broke into your house and stole from you. Does that mean you're the one that went out and threw red wine all over her prom dress as she was walking by?
That was me. As I had gone out to grab the wine I had ordered, which just arrived and would be given to Jasmine for her prom party, I saw your daughter out there wearing my dress as she walked by. No matter how one looked at it, it was very clear that you went and stole my dress from me so that she could have a dress to wear on the day of her prom.
I told you already I did not steal that dress.
If it were family that had done this to me, I could find a way to forgive them, but it was a stranger who stole my dress from my house.
A stranger?
I told you that you're no longer allowed anywhere near this house, this family, which makes you a stranger to my family. And for starters, I never once said that I was okay with you getting married to my younger son, and even though it's been 20 years now since you guys got married, I still do not forgive you for that. You are a thief who went and stole my son from me. And I just saw as your daughter of all creatures was out wearing the dress that you stole from me. I suppose thieves have to learn from somewhere, right? And that means she'll make for a good thief herself now. The reason I threw that red wine all over her and the dress was to make sure that you'd have to pay to have the dress cleaned, or else I would have never gotten over the rage that I was in. Getting rid of all those stains from that pearl white dress is going to cost you a lot of money, especially when those stains were made with red wine of all things. I'm not sure the dress will even be salvaged after that. This all feels so wonderful for me right now.
The one paying for that dress to be cleaned won't be me, but you, Marv.
Huh?
Don't you dare start crying about what'll happen with you later. Danny, this is about your prom dress from a few weeks ago. It took a lot of time and a lot of steps to have cleaned, but it's starting to look good as new now with pretty much all of the stains gone.
Really? Oh, that's so great to hear.
Seems that your friend you were with at the time, who had the bright idea of patting off a lot of that wine the moment it hit your dress, was a hero that night. Make sure to go and tell them thank you for using up all of their tissues for that, please.
Will do. By the way, have you talked with Aunt May about any of that?
Just once.
And what did she say about all of this?
She was even more angry than I was at the time.
I'm sure she was. I mean, Grandma did something that would get anyone's blood boiling, right? Especially when that dress was something you had gotten from your grandma a long time ago and was still in mint condition.
That's right. Originally, that dress was given to my sister, Aunt May, after my mom didn't want it anymore, who then went and gave it to me. And when you turned 14, I handed it down to you because I was the only one of us to have a daughter in the first place.
And then with me, I remember how upset she was when she had to give it to you because she only had boys and no girls. And, well, that dress was almost ruined with wine, all because Dad's mom thought that the dress was hers for some reason, and that she had the right to call you and I thieves for having it? Mom, I really hate that Grandma so much, and I wish she'd just die. Like, seriously, I wish she would just kick the can already, because there's no way someone who hates their own son, even, should be alive.
For the time being, I think that a lot of this misunderstanding will be taken care of. And I was able to hear from Aunt May about how Grandma became so confused there and started to think that I had stolen that dress from her.
Wait, how could Aunt May know? Oh, that's right. Both your mom and Dad's mom went to the same elementary school when they were younger and were in most of the same classes, right?
That's what it seems like. But they weren't really that close, and one could say they actually hated one another back then. Well, with the past in mind, we are going to be making sure that jerk gets what's coming for her after what she did.
Listen here, Betsy. I have been waiting this whole time, wondering when you'd be giving me my dress back from that dirty daughter of yours, and was even being patient with the cleaning for it and everything. Now, what the hell do you think you're doing, making me pay for that dress to be cleaned instead of giving it back to me now?
I'm sure that the price it costs to have the dress cleaned is more than one would normally think, but it's not to the point you can't pay it off, right? And of course that price isn't going to be enough to make you pay for having ruined my daughter's time after her prom, when she was just about to go out with all of her friends to have dinner that night. So I'll make sure to deal with you later on that one, since we've both gone and settled the bill for the dress's cleaning. So get to it, making sure that the bill is paid for on time.
I told you already that you guys went and stole my dress from my house and tried to use it as your daughter's prom dress. You are thieves!
Do you remember anything about my mom?
Huh? Your mom happened to be one of the girls that was in some of my classes throughout elementary school, right? And that was my number one reason for not wanting to let my son and you get married to one another.
And I know the reason for why you hate my mom. It's because you had your first love back then and went to him confessing your love and asking him to date you. But he turned you down, and did so because he said that he was in love with my mom and wanted her instead.
Huh? Why do you know about that?
I'm sure that you don't remember this, but back in the day, you really made a name for yourself after being so emotional, and that story spread throughout the school like wildfire.
What?
There were all kinds of things that you did throughout the years, and when it came time for you both to go to prom, the same sorts of things happened. My mom happened to wear a dress at that time that very much resembled yours, and you told her not to wear the same dress as you before dousing her in tons of water. But before she could become totally drenched, she was able to move out of the way with her very quick-reacting soccer player body, and was okay.
Oh, I remember all of that. I was in such a fury, wondering how much more that woman wanted to traumatize and hurt me back then before she'd be willing to leave me the hell alone.
And I hear she proved to you that the dress she had on only resembles yours a little because of a complete coincidence.
Huh?
In other words, you really only attempted to drench her completely over something that wasn't even that big of a deal and wasn't something she had done on purpose.
And so what? You're bringing up something that happened between your mom and I over 30 years ago, so what's the point in all of this?
So you still don't get it then?
What the hell are you trying to tell me?
Have you ever gone to see if that dress you think we'd stolen from you is missing from your closet yet?
What the hell are you talking about?
That dress that you threw red wine all over, which Danny had been wearing to prom, was the same exact dress that her mom wore, that I wore, back when you told me not to wear the same dress as you 30 years ago. That so happens to be my mom's dress, which she has passed along from generation to generation.
What?
It's a dress that my mom first handed down to my sister, who then handed it down to me, which I then handed down to my daughter for her prom. It is a history in my family of being worn to proms, and that is why I wanted Danny in it this year. So this whole thing about you saying I'm the one who stole your dress is yet another one of your ridiculous misunderstandings. Even after 30 years, you are still assuming that the dress my family has is the same dress as the one you own, right?
But I'm certain that you guys stole mine.
Also, I've heard that the dress you had for prom years ago was repurposed into a wedding dress, where there was a lot more volume added to it before you got married, right?
What? Oh, that might be true.
You can't tell me that you confused a simple prom dress with that of your very own wedding dress, right?
I understand that I shouldn't be confusing the two.
Then allow me to ask you one last time about this. Have you gone and taken a look in the closet to see if your dress is still there or not? And did you start to call my daughter and I a thief before or after you went and looked for your dress? Did you go out and ruin my daughter's dress on prom night after having gone and looked in your closet for the dress you just assumed we'd stolen from you? I'm sure you don't know this yet, but that dress is something that helped me remember my mom, who passed away 3 years ago.
What?
Are you going to apologize to me now that you're aware of that?
Betsy, where the hell have you all gone off to? I had to go over to your neighbor's place after ringing your doorbell over and over and over again, waiting for you to come out. And when I asked them what happened to all of you, they told me you all moved out of the house a few days ago. I never heard a thing about that.
I know, because we all moved away without ever telling you about it.
Huh? Why would you do something like that to me? We learned that the whole situation with that dress was because of a misunderstanding, right? And I paid you for the amount you were asking, so why?
Because we didn't want to have to deal with you coming after us once you'd paid me.
Coming after you guys?
You were told by your husband that he would be divorcing you now, and by your older son that he and his family would all be moving away from you now, right? Your husband came to us a few weeks ago, stating that there was a very high chance that you'd come out to find us at our house, and that it was best we left before anything like that happened.
Then, where am I supposed to go now?
How about you find yourself a job right now and start looking for a place to live before your husband goes and kicks you out of his house? I know of a few construction companies in town that are looking for help at the moment, so how does that all sound?
No way. I'm at that age now where it's way too difficult for me to do any sort of physical labor, especially something like construction work. Why would I ever want to go to some company where I'd have to be used to do physical labor like that? That isn't fair.
Those last couple of texts I received from my mother-in-law all came from her after she had gone over to our house and was trying to get us to come out and help her. After she had gone over and spoken with our neighbor and then ran back over to our front porch again to text us some more, she noticed Marv drop her phone onto the concrete and then keel over into a fetal position to start crying. And all she screamed about was why she had to go back to working at her age and nothing more. It was at that point that Marv then received texts from not only her husband, but her son as well, updating her on their situations and ultimately her situation. Her husband sent her photos of the divorce papers as he was handing them in, saying that she had until tomorrow to be moved out of his house. And the messages from her older son were all about how he and his family were now moved into a new apartment and would no longer be seeing her anymore. These things all piled on top of what she was already screaming about, and that led to her throwing a temper tantrum on the porch. One of her husband's friends saw this happening on our front porch and decided to call around looking for places that would be willing to hire her. He then found someone who would be willing to hire her, and they told him that they'd be there to pick her up in no time. Before long, and right as Marv was getting up to walk home after her tantrum had stopped, 2 black vans pulled into the driveway and a couple of people got out of them and asked her to please get into a van, all while she began to scream and cry. Ever since that day, nobody in the town has ever seen her again, and many people wonder if she's even in the same state as us anymore. I hope that wherever she is now, it's in a good company that does a great job of turning people into productive members of society, and will make short work out of her awful personality for good. As for myself, my husband, and my daughter, we all made sure to move to the other side of town, which is much more of a wooded area, and a place where we could hide our location a lot more easily from Marv. Danny was still able to go to the same school after the move, and my husband and I were able to keep the lives we had before without having to throw much away. And actually, this move worked out perfectly for us anyway, because our house is not only a bit smaller, which is something my husband and I were starting to want, as Danny will soon be leaving our house, but the yard is much bigger too. Now my husband can enjoy a lot of the outdoor activities he did in the past with his brother and dad, instead of having to stay all hunched up in the larger yet yardless house we had in the city.
Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.